Chris, John Miller, Eddie Hyman, Aaron, Eric, Jim Collier, for Brad.
Yeah, Brad's the only one that's not gonna be here.
Okay.
Is my audio coming through okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, in the boardroom, you've got Jay Donick, Seth Graham, Bruce Garner, and myself.
Great, great. All right, we'll get started. It's 9:02. Good morning to all of you, and thank you for giving us your time this morning for some very important work. This is a meeting of the full board of directors for the Hamilton County 911 Emergency Communications District. We're meeting remotely by use of Zoom technology pursuant to the provisions of state law. This meeting has also been duly advertised to the public, also pursuant to state law. Given we are meeting remotely, all votes taken today will be by full voice vote. I would ask all of you to check your technology right now and make sure that you can hear and make sure that you can respond. Also, I would like to add that this meeting is being actually live streamed and is actually being recorded today. So you need to be aware of that also. If any members of the public wishes to address this board, you may do so by coming to our boardroom there at 3600 Amnicola Highway. We will welcome you to the meeting. Again, we say good morning to all of you, and I will ask my vice chair, Eddie Phillips, to deliver an invocation for us this morning. Eddie, did you hear? I don't know that.
I don't have any audio. I can't hear you, Richard, or
I was asking that
you
you
hear me?
Can you hear? Okay, that's okay. Let me defer to Phil Hyman. Phil, can you hear me? Sir, would you mind delivering an invocation for us this morning?
Yes, sir. And bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we ask you to guide this board through this meeting, to help us do the service of the community that we serve. Help us make solid decisions for our surrounding public, our board members, and all of our first responders that we take care of. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order and we'll ask the Executive Director Carney for a roll call, please, of attendance.
Yes, sir. Really quickly, Lucia Walters, the EAC chair, the Employee Advisory Committee chair, has joined us in the boardroom.
Great. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Roll call, Director Adams.
Here.
Sheriff Garrett.
Here.
Chief Hyman.
Here.
Daisy Madison.
Here, Daisy, here.
Director Miller.
Here.
Chief Mitchell.
Here.
Chief Murphy.
Yeah.
Chief Phillips. He
Buddy is
can't.
trying to get on. He's here. He has no audio, he said. So.
Chief Rogers.
Here.
Brad Tucker. Chairman Dr. Brown.
I'm present. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Item number B is the approval of the agenda. You've previously been sent the agenda. Jay, thank you for getting out the agenda and the board packet to all the members. Take a look at the agenda, and if there is any need to amend the agenda, we will do so at this time. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented today.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion
Mr.
by
Chairman, if I could, I'd like to add the Director of Operations search to the agenda.
Yeah, I had that under old business.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we will add that under old business.
Okay, we have a motion by Hyman.
There's a motion by Hyman. Is there a second?
Second, Adams.
Right, motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chief Phillips, can you hear us yet? No. Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Thank you for that. Item number C is approval of prior minutes, the minutes of March the 9th, 2023, and the minutes of a special call board meeting of April the 19th, 2023. We'll entertain a motion to approve those two sets of minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
By Sheriff Garrett, is there a second?
Second.
Second,
Hyman.
Chief Hyman. Any comments, any additions or deletions to those minutes? Okay, roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips. Oh, Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. All right. A very special part of our program today, our meeting, is awards and recognition as we look at some of the outstanding work of these phenomenal employees here at Hamilton County 911. Again, we want to welcome our representative from the Employee Advisory Committee who is in the boardroom with us today too. We're just delighted to have you at these board meetings, making sure that our lines of communication stay open and all of you are aware of the business of this board. Your input is certainly welcomed at any time. All right. We will defer back to Jeff Carney for these awards and recognitions.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, logistically, I wasn't able to have anybody join us. Right now, we're operating from the MOC, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then yesterday we had an in-service, so we taxed our staff on those days. So I wasn't able to organize anybody here. I do hope to catch those up soon. Our telecommunicator of the month for February was telecommunicator CTO Nicole Emerson. She had a busy day on the radio on Charlie channels with CPD, where they were dispatched on a simple recovery of a stolen auto, which turned into a pursuit, which turned into armed subjects on the lot of Hamilton Place, running into Hamilton Place. And then she followed that up on the same channel with the search for two missing juvenile girls, which was resolved successfully. But the supervisors on Charlie channel and the supervisors here in communications all recognized the outstanding job she did with that, and she was chosen our telecommunicator of the month for February.
Okay.
Our telecommunicator of the month for March was telecommunicator Emily Durham. She took a 911 call where the female immediately said, "Oh, never mind, I didn't mean to call." Emily, just with her sixth sense there, detected that something was wrong. The lady hung up on her. She called her back, talked to her, realized that just something was off with that. And even though the lady didn't want any kind of response, we sent a response anyway. Once they arrived on scene, they realized that she was having a medical emergency with some altered mental status, and she was transported and then later admitted to the hospital. So Emily's sixth sense and her follow-up and her dedication to make sure everybody got help very likely saved this woman's life. We have also had 2 lives saved through CPR in April. One by, I'm proud that both of these are trainees. Both of them are trainees. Telecommunicator trainee Gabrielle Nelson and trainee Brandy Scarborough both had a telephone CPR, which resulted in a save. That brings our total CPR saves up to 5 so far this year. And then lastly, congratulations to first shift floor supervisor Sarah Austin, who passed her emergency number professional exam during the last testing period. EMP is a tough test. It's one of the toughest tests I've ever taken, that demonstrates a mastery of the comprehensive knowledge base necessary for 911 management. Sarah received a scholarship through TINA to pay for this. It's normally a $435 test. And with her passing, that brings us to a total of 8 emergency number professionals from Hamilton County 911. So good job for Sarah.
Jeff,
That is-
thank you. Go ahead. Are you completed?
I'm complete, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that dynamic report again of some phenomenal employees saving lives, supporting public safety and our other partner agencies, but also achieving some high achievements relative to professional growth and professional development. So we're just delighted that we have this caliber of employees. Looking forward to meeting them. And so, Jeff, at our next meeting, perhaps we can get them in the boardroom and meet them and then greet them and hand them their awards appropriately. Let me just defer to other members of the board who may have comments regarding this fine work.
Mr. Chair, this is Eddie. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm having some kind of computer trouble, so I've called in on the phone, but we're going to do an IA, try to figure out which one of y'all sabotaged my computer, but that's okay. I do want to say that what Jeff told us a minute ago is just really exciting that we've got 8 ENPs in our district. You know, that's the kind of the epitome of 911 management, and that really speaks well of our people. So I'm impressed with that. And of course, we're always so impressed with our telecommunicators. Every month, the lives that are saved, the babies that are delivered, you know, it's just amazing what they do. But I just wanted you guys to know that no matter what you try, I'm still able to get on here.
Thanks, Eddie. We heard you loud and clear. Any other comments?
I just want to say, since the incident, especially with the life being saved, but there's many incidents besides those that happen almost every day. And just thank you for you all not just keeping our first responders safe, but also our community safe, which is all of our primary goal. But good job on that. Those are good stories.
Thank you, Chief. They are outstanding stories, and just the highlight of these meetings. You could just cancel the meeting and move on after hearing that, but we have other business to do. All right, thank you so much for that. Item number E is our financial report for April of 2023. I'm going to yield to Daisy Madison, who may yield to someone on the team to do this. Daisy.
Thanks, Richard. I didn't jump in fast enough, but I wanted to echo what everybody said about all of the fine work of all of the employees. And while we highlight the ones that Jeff highlighted, I want the others to always know that we recognize that it's that whole team that makes Hamilton County 911 top notch, and we appreciate it. And Richard is absolutely correct. This month, we are going to defer to our illustrious Jay Donick to present the financial information, given that she prepares it and given that she actually walks me through it before the board meetings on a regular basis. This time, we're going to let her demonstrate to you and basically explain in probably greater detail than I the financials for the month. So give her your undivided attention. Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Madison. I appreciate it. We'll start with the balance sheet, page 1.
Can you put it on the screen?
Can you share the screen with
Yeah,
us?
could you put it on the screen?
Yes,
Sure you
sir.
get the numbers. It's in the one that this, yeah, the packet.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah, does everybody see that? No, it's over on screen. I'm seeing the PowerPoint. What do I have to do, Seth? Yeah, all right,
Got it?
there we go.
All right.
Okay. Okay, on the balance sheet, I just want to point out, account 1004, the accounts receivable. It has a negative balance of $185,000, and that's due to the fact that we received the City of Red Bank and Hamilton County's May agency funding payments at the end of April. I just wanted to note that. I'd like to turn to page 3, which is a budget versus actual. And as of April 30th, we should be at 83% of the budget. With the revenues, if you'll look at account 3020, the 130 receipts, we're at 105%. And that is due to, we budgeted $437,397 for the FY 22 state excess revenues. But by year end, we will have received $1,034,294 for an extra $597,000. And overall, the operating revenues are at 90%. If you move down to non-operating revenues, account 5099, we've got, it's quite over budget, and that is due to the Signal Mountain payment of the COVID cost reimbursement that we requested from all the agencies. So overall, the revenues are 87%. Moving to the expenditures, you'll note several accounts through the report are over budget. And at year end, we'll reallocate the funds between the line items to present a balanced budget, which is required by the state. Salaries and wages, payrolls are posted through payroll ending 4/4, and there are 6 more in FY 23. So basically, it's ending 4/4, so none of the April payrolls are on there as of yet, and that's due to invoicing and posting timing. If you look at account 404-5, telecommunicator senior, it's quite over budget, and that's due to the fact that we promoted more telecommunicator advanced to senior than anticipated. But if you look right above it, you'll see that the advanced line offsets it. Moving down to account 4013, compensated absences. It's at 238%, and that's due to former Director John Sturmer's PTO payout, which he, upon his retirement. So overall salaries and wages are at 80%. Moving on down to the benefits, they're at 63%, and that's due to the medical insurance and vacant positions. Administration, if you look on page 4, account 4221 is consulting services, and that's over, it's at 129, that's over due to the employee survey we had for 36,000, and then the cybersecurity monitoring for 57,600. Moving down to 4233, which is the awards to employees and others, it's at 190%. And that's due to a combination of larger expenditures spent on the P2 AGO campaign, the Christmas lunch, telecommunicator expenses, telecommunicator week expenses. And as you know, the cost of just about everything is going up. Move down to 4243, premiums on surety bonds, it's at 111. And that is due to the fact that we purchased an extra bond for Director Carney, but we will receive a credit for the remainder of former Director Sturmer's bond. So hopefully that'll even out at the end. Moving down to 4249, uniforms, it's at 348%. And that is because we purchased uniforms for the HR accreditation specialist, the recruitment and public engagement specialist, Bruce Garner, and our new chaplain. So overall, administration comes in at 71%. Moving down to buildings and facilities, the electric and the gas, they're slightly over budget. I do still need to invoice the city for their half of the utilities for April, but we are looking into the usage and the costs on those. So building and facilities are at 89%. Moving on to communications operations, account 4406, which is employee testing and exams. This covers the pre-employment psychological testing, and that has increased due to the open hiring process we now have. And those, each test costs $350. Okay, moving on to page 5. Language interpreting, account 4430 is in at 139%, and that's just increased usage. And down to 4499, which is the communication operations other. It is over budget due to a massage chair that we purchased for the quiet room to benefit the telecommunicators. And I must say, it has gotten rave reviews, and they're very appreciative that the board purchased this for them. So overall, your communication operations comes in at 88%. Your total expenditures are at 75%. So total revenues at 87%, less your expenditures at 75, leaves us with a net ordinary income of 3.1 million, and which is 1.4 million more than budgeted at this time. But once you take out your depreciation and amortization, your other expenses, it brings the district's net income down to 1.8 million, which shows the district is in great financial shape at this time. And that concludes my financial report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
We'll go back to Daisy for any comments that she might have, but what I see is some outstanding stewardship and dealing with the budget and the expenditures, and here at the district. Daisy, any comments?
Thanks, Jay, for a superb job. As you can see, she did a very detailed, organized approach to explaining this to the board members. So if you have any questions, I think she's already answered them. But if you do, please ask. She and I have pretty much gone over this prior. She kind of gave me a cheat sheet, so I kind of knew where she was coming from, and she answered my questions up front. I do have one item. As she stated, the center, as we all know, is continuing to operate financially in a superb position. And as you just heard from the previous discussion, performance-wise and production-wise, the employees are performing splendidly as well. The buildings, and I didn't ask this question earlier, but I did have it in my head, Jay, I'm sorry. The buildings and facilities, and the fact that we have not billed the county and city, or maybe it's the city, for their share. Does that mean that these costs will be reduced by, is it 50%?
Yes, the city pays for half of our electric and half of our gas.
Okay.
I have not billed them for April yet, so
Okay.
that will reduce a bit.
So it's only for 1 month. It's not all the months. It's just the 1 month.
Yeah, I billed them for everything up to April.
Okay.
I bill them every month, yeah.
Okay. All right. The fact that we generally, okay, we can talk about that later, because at this point, the expenditures are overstated. If you take that out, I'm pretty sure that'll be much closer to budget. Okay.
Daisy,
Go ahead.
Daisy,
That's it. Any other
Daisy,
comments?
yeah, Daisy, this is Eddie. I think for the benefit of any citizens that might be listening, you explained it very well. We are, even though we are over in some of these different line items that you and Jay talked about, we're budget-wise, we're well within or below budget.
Correct.
That's correct.
Yes, that's stated by us.
Right.
I think their process at the end of the year, when they reconcile this budget, they will go back and deal with those line items. So I think we're in great shape,
Right.
Great flexibility to be able to do that. Any further comments? Daisy, if you would you make a motion to accept this financial report, April 2023?
I do so move, and I will add for Jay's comment benefit. Everything that you guys said, she actually said during her presentation. The budget that is the overages will be addressed at the end of the year by line item rather than as they occur. And we are well within budget. Like I said, as I listened to it, she didn't miss a beat for anything.
All right.
Pretty much answered all the questions. So with
we
that,
just wanted to hear it from you, Daisy. You know, we just wanted to hear it from you. You know, because
All right, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Who was that? Was that Sheriff?
is Austin.
Okay, Sheriff Garrett seconds. Any further comments? Roll call, please, Jeff.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
yes,
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Thank you for that. All right, the next item is our general counsel's report.
Please remove the
Oh,
financials. There you go.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. A general counsel report, Mike generally sends that to us in advance. Any comment on that? He's on the call. Our attorney is on the call. Anything you want the board to know about, Mike? You're muted. Unmute. The technology is grand when it works. He is still muted, so.
There we go.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, my report, no need to make it public. The other stuff is available to you anytime.
okay,
So-
thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, that's all.
All right, thank you. Any issues, legal issues that we need to talk to Mike about from any member of the board? You received his report. Okay, we'll move on then. All right, the director's report. Jeff, you're up.
yes, sir. Let me find it. There it is. The staffing update, we continue to work on returning to full staffing levels. We're currently 25 telecommunicators below budgeted, 34 below functional. Continue with the open hiring and bringing in new employees monthly. For the recruiting program, Bruce Garner has submitted the recruiting report to you, which looks very good. As you can see, Bruce continues to be very active in arranging for district participation in career fairs. We've had 18 in the last month, and many other means of public engagement. He's been very, very busy, and it shows. In preparation for the district's job fair last month, district personnel made appearances on all 3 local networks and 2 local radio stations, and Bruce set all that up. So we're out there in the community. He's got another long list of career fairs and other public engagement events that we'll be attending. Next is the new generators. This was budgeted in FY22. It's taken us this long to actually get the generators in. They're up on the roof now. They're wiring them up. Therefore, operations are at the MOC just as a safety precaution in case there's any kind of electrical interruptions here. The old generators have been removed and taken for public auction. And just to show you how long ago this was, the board approved surplusing those in September of 2021. So I had to look that up to make sure it had been approved before we shipped them off. But that just shows how long shipping and parts and stuff have taken. Personnel reports attached. We did have one promotion of telecommunicator senior Trey Buffington was promoted to floor supervisor to replace Sharon Barker, who retired. Our statistics are included. They continue to exceed national standards as far as answer time and abandon percentage. The total of awards and commendations for March and April continue to be impressive. The incident dispatch unit continues to be busy, especially right now. We're getting into our time of the year where we have a lot of events. So they've been very busy with that. Other than that, that's all in my report, sir.
Jeff, thank you. Very comprehensive report, and thank you for sending that in advance. I had an opportunity to take a good look at that, and I do want to compliment you and Bruce Garner and the whole team for what you're trying to do with regards to recruitment. Very impressive stuff. And Ted, thank you for actually helping with that on the personnel committee too. I think we're going to see great dividends from that as we continue that effort. So any question about the director's report? Good to see we're maintaining and exceeding our standards on answering calls. We are not missing a beat there. So citizens of Hamilton County can rest assured that your call will be answered. That's a really, really good thing.
May
All right.
I
Yes.
have a question? I have a little challenge with Zoom and maneuvering the report as I also do the Zoom if it's not shared. Because, I really not in a position to print them all. So if you are referencing a report, if you could share it on the screen like his report, that would be helpful for me. I don't know about the others, but.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeff, especially those things that you wanted to highlight, you went over some really good highlights. Sharing those numbers would be great.
Yes, sir.
You got some
I
great
have some
graphics.
difficulties maneuvering Zoom, but I'll endeavor to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
You had wonderful graphics in your report though, and be good to see those. Thank you for that. All right, item number H, under old business. Want to talk a little bit about the operations position and the search process, and I had already included that. And Jeff, did you want to tee up something, or you want me to talk a little bit about that?
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I'm kind of feeling a little bit behind on this. The director of operations position is obviously one of the most important in the building.
Right.
There's 160 personnel that report to them. I think it's extremely important that this be an adept 911 professional with experience from the console into management and up. I firmly believe, sir, that we have people here who can meet those qualifications that the board is looking for, that I'm looking for. These are leaders that I've worked for and worked with for 15 years plus. Certification wise, training wise, all the paperwork that they need, we've endeavored over the years to make sure that they have the opportunities to get that. They've got the experience, they have the talent for it. Many of them I know could have gone elsewhere and gotten more lucrative positions at any district, I think, in the state of Tennessee, or in the region. And many of them have waited here hoping for advancement within the district. I would sincerely like for us to look in-house first. If there are no candidates in-house that we feel are right for the position, then at that time I would, of course, be in support of looking out elsewhere.
Well, thank you for your comments on that. I'm going to yield to other members of the board. I do have a kind of a plan and a process with this that we're working on with our consultant and with Dr. Gohagen in HR, but I'll share that with you. Let me just get any response. And Jeff, by the way, thank you for that support of the current staff. This board recognizes the high quality that we have, and we're so appreciative of every member of your staff. And thank you for alerting us to say, we've got some pretty good people here within the district. We really appreciate that. Any other comments before I comment further?
And I would like to also let Jeff know that anything, any other approach does not, in our mind, diminish the quality of staff that we have, nor does it eliminate or diminish their standing, if you will, in terms of the selection of candidates. They will continue to shine, and no matter what the process is. So the purpose of the process is not to put internal employees at a disadvantage nor at an advantage, other than just to, at the end of the day, just do a due diligence and make sure that we pick the candidates that are available, the best candidates available in the pool of candidates. So that just make sure that don't read that into any recommendations that are made with respect to recruitment.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. And I certainly understand that. You know, that's obviously how I would hope it would be. I can tell you that the employees here do not feel the same. They're not extremely happy with the concept of going outside this agency to look for a director of operations, and that's been communicated up through the chain, and we have explained to them, the processes, and that nobody is excluded, but the feeling here and the impact on morale is present. And I would also say that the national search, from the timeline I was shown yesterday, has that position vacant until September 20th, which is a long time for us to be short that position. That is a very demanding position that takes up a lot of time.
Okay, but the timeline, Jeff, that's based, that's up to the search committee to shorten that. What you're seeing are proposed guidelines, and we value your input in terms of the length of that. So stay tuned for that. Let me just say this, the purpose of a search process is to ensure fair and equitable processes at the end of the day, whether it's internal or external, making sure that people who are qualified have access to the process. What I have recommended to be looked at, and I've been sharing this with Jeff through our consultant and the HR team, is to put together a search committee. Jeff certainly will be a part of that search committee, as well as 3 members of your team will be there. So 3 members from the 911 team, 3 members of the board will serve on this search committee as well as an employee representative will serve, along with an external person will make up that team. What I would say to that team is that take a look at the processes, whether it's internal or external. And by the way, I'm going to ask Ted Rogers, as our personnel committee chair, to chair this committee, this search committee. Ted, if that's okay, I see you kind of nodding, saying that's all right. Thank you, sir. I will ask that the search committee take a look at the recommended processes and make a recommendation to me as chair, and I'm going to share that with the full board for a vote on the process, on how we should proceed. Jeff, you follow me?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask the board to make sure that you're engaged in terms of how we should proceed there, right? If you are asked to serve on this committee, please serve. It's important that you do so if you are asked to serve on this search committee. I would like to also say that this position is a little bit different than when Jeff had the position. It is a deputy director now, and really the second in command to ensure sound succession planning here at the district. So it's not just your routine, Jeff, your job was never routine, by the way. It's the heartbeat of the place at the end of the day. And you did such a wonderful job with it. It's a very important position. It really is. And I agree with that. But it's also a little higher level leadership role that we've included in this particular process. So that will be presented also to the search committee and the full board after Ted reviews it and we review it. So the board will have input about the actual job description and the process. And I would ask for that search committee to recommend the process that you think is fair and equitable. And we will have the vote board review that and vote their conscience on how we move forward. But again, Daisy made a great point. The process is never to exclude, never to dishonor the quality of people that we have. And Jeff, thank you for the advocacy on behalf of some great people.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any further comment? Ted, your thoughts, you've already kind of echoed what your thoughts are about this, but any thoughts going forward?
No, based upon what you just said, I'll wait to see what you mentioned earlier in your comments that you've advised HR and perhaps you said our consultant. I can't remember exactly what your words were.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've yet to be involved in that.
Yep.
And so when I am presented with whatever plan they come up with, I will get back to the board with that, but I've yet to see it. So I'll reserve judgment till I see what is presented.
All right, and the only ones had eyes on that is Director Carney right now. So to make sure that he's in the loop every stage of this process.
Yeah,
So
my comment relative to that, Mr. Chairman, is that we've got a lot of chiefs and directors on this board, And it would probably be a gross understatement to say that I don't know of a chief or a director, administrator in the world that would not be involved primarily. The key word is primarily, in every single step of hiring his or her deputy chief or deputy director.
Absolutely.
And the absolute weight of the position would be on what Executive Director Carney thinks with the board's support.
Absolutely.
I would like to make that, from my opinion, point of view, crystal clear.
Well, it is crystal clear, and you will see that in the process, and it will be Director Carney working with the search committee. He will get the primary selection here and
No,
make the recommendation to the board, and it is the board that will affirm that or have comments on it.
What I mean to say is that he needs to be the one, in my opinion, Paul, having not seen the information yet, that recommends who he wants to the board. He needs to be involved in every single step. This is his deputy director.
Absolutely. We understand that, and you will see in the process that that's the way it's lined up.
I hope to see that. Thank you.
All right. Any further comment? Well, stay tuned. We're working on the job descriptions and all of that. We're going to be very transparent, and we will get all of that data to all of you to take a look at. Okay. As soon as Carney agrees, it all goes to him first.
Mr. Chair, this is Betty. I would say that I think that we do need to, as you said, it'll be up to the search committee to look at the process and see how long it's going to take. But I do think we need to be thinking about, and Ted is chair of it, expediting this as much as we can, because as what Jeff said, you know, if we wait till September, that's 3-4 months from now, and he has really run ragged. He's I do know, because I was over there yesterday, he has not been able to move into his office yet because he's still working in the other office. He's got so much to do. He's had 2 days in a row where he needed to be in 2 different meetings, you know, so he had his deputy be at one of the meetings instead of him. So anyway, I do think this doesn't need to last till September.
I totally agree. And as soon as Jeff gets that timeline, he should really recommend that they shorten that timeline based on what his thoughts are. And he'll have an opportunity to do that. All right. Any further comments from members of the board? Okay, we'll move on. We're on to new business now. A very important part of the day is a proposed 24 operating budget for the district. It's our first reading of the budget process. This is very, very critical that the board fully understand the budget and we vote on this. So we're going to yield now to Director Carney to walk us through the financial planning for 24.
Yeah, Seth, is that
Yes.
okay. If everybody can see my screen, we'll get started for the FY24 budget presentation. First, we're proposing a 3% across the board increase, which is the same as Hamilton County gave last FY. We have some salary adjustments for new positions that were previously approved. Those being the admin secretary, the public engagement and recruiting specialist, the accreditation and human resource specialist, and the system security specialist, the cybersecurity specialist. You'll see the continued reflection of the telecommunicator advanced into the telecommunicator senior positions, which will have a cost offset there. And then the addition of the retention bonus, which we began last year, but this is the first year it appears on budget. The way that looks number wise, for administrative personnel, it's an increase of $30,000 or 5.2%. Assistant directors increases $9,410 or 3.1%. Telecommunicators on district benefits, it's $161,575 or 3.6%. The difference on the percentage there from a 3% is due to trainees advancing to telecommunicator. They get a 5% increase, There's about 25 of those. They do not get the 3%, as they were probationary at the time of the 3% will go into effect, but they do get the 5% bump from trainee to telecommunicator. Telecommunicator city, there are only 2 of those on city benefits. That increase is a flat 3%, or $2,893. We continue the decrease on the telecommunicator advanced, which is down $791,000.
Can we ask questions or
Yes.
do we need to wait? Would you prefer I wait?
All right, you can go ahead and ask the question, Daisy.
So I'm still trying to figure out that the telecommunicator city and how they got a 3% in an environment where there's 5%. I mean, I'm sorry, yeah. Or is this is proposed for 24, so is everybody now going back to the 3% in part as far as this budget is concerned, or?
Yes, ma'am, this is a 3% raise.
Yeah. We're trying to, Daisy, we're trying to get better aligned with what we normally would do with the county.
I get it. I just, I had that question before about the city employees. So now that 3%, because they were lower before, and I don't remember what it was. When I say before, when we discussed it in committee.
Right.
And so what you're saying now is they get the same 3% that everybody else gets.
Yes, ma'am. That was on that previous presentation as well. They were at a flat 5.5 and the others were at I think a 5.8. But
Okay.
yes, they get a 3% raise. The difference between the 3.6 for the telecommunicators on district benefits is those trainees that do not get the 3% raise, but they do get a 5% bump by being promoted from trainee to telecommunicator 1.
And Jeff, this is Ted. One of the things that we need to remind everybody too is that these are the averages of all of the personnel. Some people
Correct.
are a little bit higher, some people are a little bit lower. They're all getting the same raise, but when you say administrative personnel 5.2, that's the average of all of the personnel. That still is giving them a 3% raise, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay, that's key.
And that was-
Thank you.
That was one.
Yeah, this is Eddie. I was thinking the same thing. This is confusing, to when you first look at it, it looks like administrative personnel are getting a 5.2% raise, but that's not what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that's the difference in the money in administrative personnel because of a lot of different factors. That's just the difference in the money, but the total budget money is really 3%. It's a 3% raise for everybody.
Correct, sir. And here on these bullets that preceded that, the salary adjustments for new positions, the admin secretary, the public engagement specialist, the accreditation and human resource specialist, all received salaries above what was budgeted and were approved by the board. And those were approved last year, but this is the first year they're on the budget. That's why you're not seeing a flat 3% increase. For example, on the administrative personnel, because those additional dollars we put to their salary reflect a 5.2% increase overall.
Right. Yeah. You're wanting the board to know actual money is 5.2% more, but because of all these other factors, but really it's only a 3% raise for everybody, the city and county telecommunicators and all the other personnel. So
Right.
I think we're all clear on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. The telecommunicators at 3.6 because of that 5% increase for 25 employees. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
is at the flat 3%. And the others, the administrative personnel was essentially explained in the previous slide. I totally get it.
Okay.
Yeah, see, thank you for that and for getting everybody some clarification with the numbers. So we appreciate that.
Right. These numbers reflect an increase over last year's budget total. So anything we've done between now and then are reflected here, plus that 3% across the board.
Now, dispatch supervisors, that 2% is reflective of.
Karen Barker retiring.
Okay, so it really is like Eddie was saying, is this is dollar increase. This is not salary increase per employee. Got it.
Correct. This is the actual line items. So with
Yes.
Sharon Barker retiring, since she was the only one that did, and bringing in a new supervisor at base, that dropped, all the supervisors get a 3% increase, but because we lost a senior person and got a brand new person in, that overall reflects a 2% increase on that line item.
Got it.
Jeff, before you proceed, Jeff, I've asked Jeff, along with Ted and our HR team, to really do a deep dive on compensation and take a look at where the district needs to be in terms of competitive recruitment and the retention of our staff. So later on in the fall, we may come back and say, hey, look, in order for us to maintain our staff, we've got to have some additional investments in these positions. So there will be some revenue available for that. We're just trying to gauge that, and I will bring that back to the board. But I want employees to know that we really do think highly of their work and their service, and we definitely want to retain them. So we want to make sure that we're paying them competitively of similarly situated telecommunication positions. So we'll be looking at public safety, but we'll also be looking at entities that use telecommunications. And that's what we're finding we're competing with. And Jeff kind of made me aware of that. So I appreciate that. I just wanted the whole board to know that we're working on this.
Mapping and addressing personnel, that's a flat 3% increase. Training staff is a 3% increase, $6,951. IT personnel is $25,979. It's a 7% increase, and that is due to the 3% across the board, plus the cybersecurity specialist had a higher salary, which was approved by the board in this FY. And that's reflected for the first time on budget here. CTO personnel are up 3%. Longevity is up 1%. And the retention bonus, again, this is the first year that the retention bonus has been on budget. Its total is $134,000.
And Jeff,
Overall, yes, ma'am.
and it's not a fair question, but how much did longevity go up? I mean, I'm sorry, not go up. How much is longevity pay approximately relative to retention bonus?
Are you talking about total or?
Yes, just total. And you can get me that later if you need to.
Longevity pay is 97 for proposed for FY24 is 97,125.
Okay, so the retention bonus, because it goes to.
It's about $37,000 higher. Yes, ma'am.
Because it goes to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Overall, in the salaries for FY24, it's an overall increase of $191,000, or 2.3%. For benefits, the following numbers will reflect an increase in the TCRS rate from 10.23% to 10.73%. And then I have a proposed $75,000 fund established for mental health and wellness. You can see there the very minor increases for Social Security, Medicare. The pension expense due to that TCRS increase is $91,794 or 11%. OPEB, just due to salaries increasing, is $150 or 5.25%. And then for other fringe, I've allotted $75,000 for some sort of support for mental health and mental health wellness. I know we talked in the executive committee meeting about a certain program we were looking at. I just want to let the board know we have not made a selection or a decision by any means on exactly what we want to do with these funds. I just feel it's important that we have funds set aside for additional mental health support for our staff. And certainly anything that we look at any decisions we make will come back before the board through its committee and to the full board for approval before these funds are spent. So I would just ask that these be approved so that we have something to work with next year.
I think it's interesting and it's commendable and it's good that medical insurance is 0 increase. The rates are remaining the same, or I heard on the news, believe it or not, that supposedly medical insurance went down 16% nationwide. Do you know what your rates are gonna be?
The county informed us that there was no change in the rates, which we were really surprised by because the county made some changes to their retirement benefits for insurance for retirees rather. But the county rates remain the same. I would love it if they would go down 16%.
Well, I mean, that was nationwide and who knows what I can't imagine that happening, but the 0, I'm happy with the 0 for now. And maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Overall benefits increase 168,010 or 4.2%. Under administration, we added the human resource consultant. We've added funds for promotional assessment center. And then advertising and public education activities have increased. And I think we all agree there have been positive results there. Number wise, that looks like for consulting services, it's an increase of $62,000. Well, 25,000 of that going to human resources, and then we've allotted 37,000 for a promotional assessment center. That's an increase of 82% under consulting. Lease rental of equipment is down by $2,100 or 11%. Advertising increases $500, which is a 100% increase. We have never had much in advertising before. Awards, as Jay talked about, just the expense of awards and stuff are up. So we've increased that $2,500 or 18%. Employee testing, which was another item we're over budget on that line right now. We've increased that $3,200 or 80%. Public education, $10,000 or 25%. Supplies and materials, $800 or 15%. And overall for administration, it's $84,040 or 10.38% increase.
Jeff, this is Ted.
Yes.
The 25,000 for human resources consultant, that's for Miss Linda, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
For buildings and facilities, the following numbers will reflect cost increase in utilities, though not an increase in usage. The UPS maintenance cost increase, which the board previously approved, and an increased cost for janitorial service. For electric, it's an increase of $10,000 or 13%. For gas, $4,500 or 38%. Insurance on building and contents is $630, which is just or is a 15% increase. Maintenance and warranty, which gets the UPS maintenance, is $36,700, which is a 32% increase, and an increase of 10% or $1,000 for supplies and materials. Overall, for buildings and facilities, it's $52,830 or 19%. For communications and operations, following numbers will reflect an increase in the VLAN speed between the main and the MOC. A one-time $35,000 cost for CAD upgrades, additional public record software for FOIA requests for the Freedom of Information Act request, and a standard yearly cost increase for maintenance and warranties. Dues and memberships are up $500, 17%. Employee testing increases $2,880 or 22%. Insurance and equipment is $2,060 or 22%. Travel expenses are $4,500 or 19%, which reflects just the increased cost of travel. The VLAN network services, which increases the speed between here and the MOC, $18,200 or 20%. Maintenance and warranty is up $78,117 or 11%. And then the category other is increased $2,000 or 67%. Overall, that's $109,892 or 10% increase. So to summarize by category there, salaries and wages, the total budget for FY24 is $8,495,820, an increase of $191,456 or 2.31%. Employee benefits for FY24 will be $4,147,539, an increase of $168,010 or 4.22%. Administration, an increase of $893,703, an increase of $84,040 or 10.38%. Buildings and facilities, an increase of $330,930, which is an increase of $52,830 or 19%. Communications operations is $1,229,502, an increase of $109,892 or 9.82%. Depreciation and amortization, there is no increase. It remains at $1,563,500. The total FY budget or total FY24 budget is $16,660,994, which is an increase of $606,000, $606,228 or 3.78%. Now I know how John felt. Rattle off all those numbers. Our funding sources, the TCA, the 786,303 receipts remains at $5,095,614,000. The Section 130 receipts were budgeted at $2,500,000. From Hamilton County government, it's $2,426,924. From the other client agencies, the other 5 client agencies is $6,818,691. Reimbursement from the State 911 board on the hosted controllers, $292,000, which remains every year. Then $20,075 from interest and investment income. Makes our total revenue $17,153,304.
Jeff, this is Ted. I have a question. Primary government, is that considered Hamilton County government, and then other government is all of our other city stakeholders?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's
Okay.
how the comptroller has it, the chart of accounts organized.
Yeah, that's a chart of accounts thing. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ted, I had that same question in my head. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it definitely doesn't have to do with primary contributor.
Correct. Capital that will be continued from FY23. Is shown here, the CAD to MCC 7500 interface, mobile broadband kits, etc. See, that's $874,000 from FY23 that will be carried over. There you go. Capital for FY24. We have the mock UPS batteries, which will need to be replaced. We estimate that to be $12,000. It's time to replace CAD monitors at the main center. That's $75,000. I'm requesting 2 Ford Explorers, one for Jay. As she's in a used vehicle right now, and then one for the new director of operations. I'll take the vehicle that Jay's in right now, which is John's old vehicle, and put it into use for recruiting and public engagement, which right now they're using an Escape, which is not good for hauling people or things. That Escape, I will ask to be surplus. It's a 2009 model. It's been wrecked several times. And then I'll also request a surplus a 2012 Ford Explorer, which is on its last legs as well. I'll be requesting a one Ford pickup, an F-250 long bed for our facilities specialist, Greg Lindberg. Right now, he's using that 2012 Ford Explorer, and he hauls a lot of stuff, to include trash in the back of that. For what he does, a pickup truck is a much more suitable vehicle. And that's why that's listed here. The Barco video system, it's our intent to try to match up with what the EOC has for their video management system. The Barco system is used to manage video feeds and other screens. This would enable us to more easily share information to the EOC and to receive information from the EOC for display in both locations. EOC chose good products. That's why it's $100,000, because it's you pay for what you get there. The rest of this, admin core switches, mock access switches, the mock video server, are all technical things which Seth can explain if you need a further explanation. Then the Microsoft Office standard licensing is $40,000. I'm asking for $100,000 to remodel offices and the lobby. There were $35,000 left for a lobby remodel from FY23. I'll be putting that with this $100,000 if approved. When we approve that cybersecurity specialist position, we got the person, but we don't have an office to stick them in. And I'm fresh out of office spaces here. The only thing I can do now is to take the front secretary's position, move her out to the lobby reception area, create offices. I think I can get 2 offices in where her desk is now, and then remodel the lobby reception area to make it more office friendly and a little bit more secure. It's time for it to be updated anyway, which we'll be using that $100,000 plus that 35 from FY23. The total in capital here is total requested capital here is $497,000. That would, if all approved, that would create a depreciation increase of $81,167 going forward there in those depreciation years, with the anticipated depreciation in 24 of $40,583. And then you can see there on the bottom line, our remaining balances in capital are increasing in FY24 capital, what the remaining balance is, and the estimated FY24 depreciation for all capital projects. Okay. The bottom line for this budget, the expected revenue is $17,153,304. The budgeted expense is $16,660,944. Our expected result at the end of FY24 is $492,310. That concludes the presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Jeff, this is Ted. So your excess revenue over expenses is a little bit more than a 1% safety spread. I'd commend you for doing that. That's a good business.
Thanks, sir.
Could I, this is great budget, Jeff, very well explained. You know, I thought I was listening to John. You did a great job.
Hey, now.
Um,
Oh.
I do have one question. If you go back to the slide on the revenues for the primary, that shows the primary government, and this is just for the board's purposes and the way I generally I would expect the big dollars, the big components. And I understand you're doing this based upon the way something is at the state level. But would anyone be opposed to showing Hamilton County and City of Chattanooga, and then other governments. Because, you know, budgetarily from the citizens' perspective, they need to know who this is, where the dollars are coming from. And the TCA is state. Primary government, they don't know who that is. We had to ask. I knew, but of course.
Daisy, I think it'd be acceptable and put in parentheses behind primary government Hamilton County.
Okay,
And then other government, just put cities, and Chattanooga is included with all the other cities.
yeah, except that I had hoped that because the city contributes, of that $6 million, the city is probably contributing what?
A little more than 4.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah, because of the size of the number, I just thought it'd be good to just show it what it is.
We can, it's line 5005, and we can add, 5005-1-2 and show each city by name.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
I mean, you don't have to show all the other cities, but I just think since those are two big ones, but showing all the other cities is fine too. But
No, I agree with
I think transparency, I'd like to see all of them so we know what everybody's paying.
okay,
that's
You're gonna do
Chris.
one, you might as well do them all.
okay,
Yeah, true.
This Ted, I agree. If you're going to show one, show them all. I agree.
I agree. I'm definitely happy with it.
Just a quick question, is that
So
for the
Jeff, can
presentation?
you do that? Can you do that? I know you're using the chart of accounts from the state, but under primary government, just show under that Hamilton County government, other governments, just list those things underneath there. City, East Ridge, Red Bank, that aggregates up to that $6.8 million.
We can do that within the rules of the chart of accounts, but our question is, do you want that just for the budget presentation, or do you want that on the financials going forward?
Just for the budget presentation.
Budget presentation, okay. Yeah, that's very easy then.
Yeah, and I would also say, Jeff, put an asterisk at the bottom that's saying it's organized this way because of the state required chart of accounts. But you're breaking it out in parentheses to have transparency, but you cannot change your chart of accounts.
Right.
But just
Right.
put in there for transparency's sake with an asterisk, this is organized due to the state rules or law actually of chart of accounts. And here's the breakout for the budget presentation, but it does not need to be on your financial statements.
Okay. But yeah, that's easily done, and good suggestion.
Any further comments? Again, Jeff, outstanding presentation and, well prepared and easily understood. We appreciate the work and for your entire team for pulling this together. Any further comments from members of the board? We're required to take a vote on this initial budget, the first reading. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the budget as presented by the executive director. Is there a motion?
Rogers motion.
Motion
Daisy.
by Ted Rogers. Daisy, did I hear a second from you?
Yes.
Second by Daisy Madison. Any further comments? Jeff, a roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. And thank you for that. We'll move on now to other new business, the Wisdom Street Windows Project. Again, let me thank the chairs of our subcommittees for some outstanding work. This budget also went before the executive committee of the board, and we reviewed it. But all of these committee chairs have done some outstanding work, and we get these items presented to the full board for approval today. So I wanted to thank those chairs of those committees for doing some excellent work. Wisdom Street Windows Project.
Yes, sir. As part of the facility security study, it was determined that the windows on the Wisdom Street side of the building, which are outside of the fence perimeter, are not resistant to projectiles, blast, or forced entry. We sought to have them replaced with some ballistic rated windows. We worked with our architect, Billingsley Architecture, who created an RFP. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting on Wednesday, April 26th. And then sealed bids were open just this past Tuesday on May 9th. We had 2 bids. One from Vegas Corporation for $62,430 and one from Robert Roberts for $82,090. Billingsley Architecture reviewed the responses and recommends the award to Vegas Corporation. This matter was presented to the Facilities Operations Committee on May 10th, who recommended approval of Vegas Corporation to the full board. If approved, this will result in an increase to depreciation in the amount of $4,169 per year for 15 years. We have $461,000 remaining of a total of $500,000 budgeted for security and facility upgrades in FY23. If this is approved, it would reduce that amount to $398,470, which is sufficient, I believe, for the projects we have remaining.
Thanks, Jeff. Phil, will you make the motion? And I do want to thank you for continuing to implement these security measures at the main center. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, and as that facilities meeting went, it's just another thing that we're crossing off the list of items to harden the facility more. Jeff's done a really good job with this, getting this bid together, and I'd like to move it to the whole board for approval for that low bid.
A motion by the chair of that committee. Is there a second?
Second, Mitchell.
Okay, second by Eric Mitchell. Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Thank you for that. Item number 3, Motorola MCC 7500.
Yes, sir. At the main center, we use Motorola 7500s as our main radio console. The 7500s are the flagship product for Motorola for communication center use. At the MOC, we use 7500Es, which is a lesser version. It's limited by some talk path requirements, but otherwise it offers the same features as the 7500s. We desire to place this capability into the Mobile Incident Communication Center, the MIC, as this would allow the telecommunicators to patch channels, receive information on emergency button alerts if an officer or responder presses their emergency button. It will enable them to set alert tones, to set fire department tones, see radio IDs as they key up. We obtained 2 licenses from this or for this from Saudi Daisy last year, which we thought would get us into this for free. Motorola had other ideas. There's additional licensing required to do this over wirelessly as opposed to doing it inside of a building. The quote for Motorola to do 2 installs of this on a vehicle is $106,485.70. This proposal was submitted to the Technology Committee on May 1st, and they voted to recommend this to the full board. This would be an amendment to the capital budget to allow purchase of the two positions in the amount of $106,485.70.
Thanks, Jeff. Eddie, chair of that committee, would you make a recommendation to move this forward?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Yes, this is a very critical piece of equipment that we need. The MIC is so important to our operations and really sets our district apart from many districts nationwide in what we do. And so I do, on behalf of Technology Committee, make the motion that we approve the Motorola at $106,485.70.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, did I see Phil Hyman, Chief Hyman? Okay, seconded by Hyman. Any further questions, further comments? Roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Item number 4, surplus and recycling.
Let's see if I can bring the list up here. The district has compiled a list of equipment, shown in this document, May 2023 surplus. This is old equipment that's no longer, required, or it's obsolete, or it's been replaced with modern equipment. All items shown on, this list would be sent for, surplus for auction through Compass Auctions. We also have this list, which is recycled. This will be disposed of by recycling. The items on this list are old obsolete computer workstations that have no remaining value. CJIS requirements, the Criminal Justice Information System requirements, make us destroy the hard drives on these devices, so they're worthless to surplus. So the request here would be to recycle these. So you should have this information in your packet. I know I went through them pretty quick, but we have two separate lists, one to send to surplus for auction and the other to recycle, which would be just to dispose of with no value back to the district. This matter was heard by the Technology Committee on May 1st, who voted to recommend approval to the full board.
Thank you for that update. We'll go to Eddie. Would you make the recommendation to approve?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I do, on behalf of Technology Committee, move that we approve the surplus list and the recycle list.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric Mitchell. Any further comments? Jeff, thank you for that transparency too. That's really good to keep the board updated on that. Roll call, please.
Third, Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Item number 5, proposed policy changes. Jeff,
Is Angel on here?
Dr. Gohagan on the call.
I am.
Go ahead.
I'll defer this to her since she stirred this up.
I'm not sure storing up is the right thing, but sure. We have 7 policies that for one reason or another we had held back. Primarily the changes to 6 of those where we were being held because we didn't have a real executive director at the time. So we held those as they were not pressing, so we were able to hold them back. Those policies are on there. There's the first page. I can't share my screen from where I'm at, so I don't know if Director Carney can pull that up. But there is a proposed policy changes document that includes a cover report of all these, a summary of the changes for the particular policies, and then all the other reports or all the other policies are attached to that as well. Thank you, Jeff. The one that has really made a substantial change was Personnel 8, the Employee Assistance Programs. We added the section on animals in the workplace. This was taken to committee last month in that discussion of having animals in the workplace and the policies and procedures. We went back to Chambliss and Associates, the lawyers, for some additional language that is included in there about mandated EAP and whether or not we use our approved doctors or if the employee uses theirs. So that language is now in there. We also added another section on visiting animals. Occasionally, we have had people bring their service animals in just to visit as sort of a benefit to employees. We've now put that in policy as well.
Okay. No, we did an awful lot of work on the EAP program and animals in the workplace. I commend you for that. We're keeping us in compliance with federal standards. So we really do appreciate that. All of you have that before you. It was previously submitted. Any comments, particularly from Ted as chair of the personnel committee? Many of these items are HR related. Any comments?
No, they're needed changes, and many of them are to have equity and parity in our consistency with our policies, especially with the ones to service animals. It's the service animal change is frankly to comply with the law. We have gone on record asking the administrative leadership to be very careful how they involve themselves in that we need to make sure not only that we are abiding by the law, but it's a consistent and positive, proactive approach in how we deal with that in the center. It may sound a little bit screwy, so just because the law says it doesn't mean it's particularly correct. And what I mean by that is, while we have to abide by the law, we need to make sure that whatever we do makes sense, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yes. Will you make a motion to accept these changes, Ted, as chair of the personnel committee? To get it?
I would, so moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Daisy. Any further comments? Again, Dr. Gohagan, we really applaud you for keeping us up to date on all of this, okay, and bringing it to our attention. If no further comments, we'll entertain a roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Number 6, FY24 TCRS rate.
Yes, sir. The Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, as reported on in the budget, has notified us of an increase to our rate. This requires a board approval to approve this new rate here listed. It says the minimum employer rate of 10.73%. Of course, the board does have the option to pay a higher contribution should you so choose.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the TCRS rate increase of 10.7%?
Rogers motion.
Daisy second.
Rogers, is there a second?
Daisy second.
Daisy second that. Any further comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman,
Yes.
Daisy Madison,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes.
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Item number 7 is John Sturmer consulting fees. Former Director Sturmer contacted me, and we have ongoing litigation that he has to give depositions in. And so he had consulted me regarding a rate, charge rate, a consulting rate, and which was equivalent to the hourly rate of his salary. I consulted with our legal counsel, Mike Mann, and Mike said that was very appropriate. So I'll put that matter back to Jeff Carney to make sure he would manage that process. So Jeff, if you would, tell us a little bit about that, how you're going to manage that. And tell us what the rate is too, if you would.
The recommended rate was his previous hourly rate of $63.84 an hour. Anytime John goes with the attorney, I'll also be going with the attorney just for observation, since I'm the one responsible now for the district involvement. So I'll track his time and report it back to Jay for compensation.
And also, I asked that Jeff keep up with that and make a report back to the board in his director's report to us. So we're well aware
Yes,
of
sir.
what we're spending. Any comments about that?
Will this be reported as 1099 income? It will, wouldn't it? So
Yes,
it's
ma'am, it'll have to be, yeah.
right. So it's just the salaries that he would pay, not Social Security and all that stuff added to it, right? We're just paying the salary piece.
Great.
Yes.
Jay
It's the
loves
hourly
producing
rate.
1099s.
And Jeff, do you have time to follow him around like that? And
I don't have much choice in this because as the executive for the district now, I need to be involved in what is being said, so I can gauge the district's response to anything.
Right, so that's your
So-
primary, yeah, that would, okay, that would be your primary purpose to me for going, because we generally.
Yes, ma'am.
Right,
If for any
that-
reason it couldn't go, I'll definitely delegate someone else to it, just so that a district employee has eyes on the proceedings.
Right, great, thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll entertain a motion to accept this rate for former Director Sherman. Is there a motion?
Roger, so moved.
Okay, motion by Ted. Is there a second?
This Eddie, I'll second.
Eddie, second. Good. Any further comments? Roll call, Jeff.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Sheriff Garrett,
Yes.
Chief Hyman. Yes. Daisy Madison,
Yes,
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chief Mitchell,
Yes.
Chief Murphy,
Yes.
Chief Phillips,
Yes.
Chief Rogers,
Yes,
Chairman Dr. Brown.
Yes. Item number 8, any other new business to come before the board at this time?
yeah, I would kind of like to know how this would be handled going forward. Let's say if this was any other employee and they came back to testify and were required or asked to testify, they would be paid at their rate. So I guess my question is interesting. I'm just trying to figure out how this will work on a routine basis. Because, as employees come back, they'd be paid much different based upon the current position amount or the amount that they were paid when they left, even if it was the same position. So it's something that, it's new. It's just new to me. I was just curious for the next time and wanted to make sure that ex-employees are treated equitably.
Yeah.
Daisy, I think it's a case by case scenario. This one is involved because I think John in the 911 district are named in the suit. Therefore, we're having to comply with this. And it's also a good idea that Jeff tracks along with the process, being our chief executive now. So I think it's a case by case basis, Daisy, but I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, I do agree. Jeff definitely needs to be there, and people need to be compensated for their time. It's just new.
Let me defer that to Jeff and Dr. Gohagan and HR to take a look at a standard kind of policy, consult with Mike Mann and bring something back to us to look at to approve.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I was gonna say Angel gets to write another policy.
Yeah, at the end of, so, and for consistency and equity, and Daisy brings a good point up. So we will do that. Dr. Gohagan, did you get that?
Yes, sir, I did. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At the end of the day, she's always jolly on the spot.
Dr. Cohagen, if this is
That's
something that's out of the ordinary, you just let us know. I'm asking questions, but if we're asking for crazy stuff, let us know.
Yes, ma'am, I will. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, listen, thanks to all of you. I've taken an hour and 36 minutes of your time this morning, a pretty heavy agenda, but you stayed with us and got us through the first reading of our budget and a lot of good things this morning. So I want to commend all of you, all the members of the board, for all you continue to do, and certainly Jeff and his team for some pretty outstanding work in terms of making this flow so very well. We really appreciate that. Anything else to come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Unless you want to stay another hour.
Daisy,
Daisy made the
Move to
motion and I saw Chris nodding. Let's go. So we've got a motion and second. Consider yourself dismissed. Thank you so much.